Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the 2024 BMW M2. Huge shout out to Carolina Auto Direct for providing the sports car for me today. They're always getting in some very cool inventory. That link is down in the description. This M2 is finished off in Alpine White. They have a starting MSRP just over $63,000. And the M2 is powered by the 3-liter inline 6-cylinder twin turbo engine. This model is paired to the 6-speed manual transmission. It pumps out 453 horsepower, 406 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent to the rear wheels, propelling this 3,800-pound sports car from 0 to 60 in just under 4 seconds. It has a top speed of 177 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 13.7 gallons. You'll expect to see around 16 miles per gallon in the city, 24 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 108.1 inches. Its overall length is 180.3. It has a width of 81.4 and a height of 55.2 inches. Now, as we've taken this quick walk around of the exterior, this M2 has a very nice angular look for all of the lines and all of the different body panels. As we come back to the front end now, you'll notice that the kidney grille has a much different shape than a lot of the BMW models. It's not very large, but it's also squared off too. I think it has a nice integration. There's the M2 badge and then a lot of cutouts to provide cooling to that engine. There's also a small set of LED headlights with the DRLs and turn signals to give it a great look. More gloss black in the lower section of the bumper, where again, we have the squared off look for those inlets. There's also parking sensors, a little bit of mesh in the middle, and then some more inlets there to provide additional cooling. There's also some nice lines that come down the hood as well. And then as we work our way to the side, this does have a staggered setup for the wheels. They're 19 inches up front, 20 inches in the rear, with that multi-spoke design to them. There's also the M Sport brakes, which are finished off in red. There's the two-tone for the side mirrors, which also have the integrated turn signal. The gloss black in the lower section works its way to the entire window surround, where this also has a sunroof up top. And then with the angular looks, and especially with that side skirt there, it almost gives it a factory wide body look, just with the overall angular design with all of those squarish shapes. I think it's a really nice look for this latest generation. And then in back, this has a small trunk mounted spoiler. There's the dark housings for the LED taillights. There's also the backup camera along with all the parking sensors, and then that quad tip dual exhaust with some gloss black and some fins to give it a really nice look. And we do have some more of those squared off edges on both sides as well. And then to gain access to the trunk, you can use the button on the key fob or the button up underneath. We do not have a power trunk for this M2, but in back now, for being a two-door sports car, it's pretty practical. You have some items in here at the moment. There's also a storage bin there, so you have a good bit of space. You can also fold down the back seats as well. So pull on those tabs and that will give you some more space to make this that much more practical. So this can be your only vehicle and you have quite a lot of space to place in some items. Now as we work our way to the interior, you just heard it lock because it has the proximity sensor. All I need to do is approach the vehicle and that it can lift up on that new door handle design there. For the interior, the door panel is pretty simple. There's a Harman Kardon audio. There's also the leather, really neat trim accent just behind that. There's memory seating controls, trunk release, window adjustments, side mirror controls, and then some storage in the lower section, and this neat pattern that is in the back of the door panel there. And then take a look at these seats with the red and blue accents for both of the front seats. These are automatic. However, there is one manual adjustment for the leg support there. But what I really like about these seats is if you pull on this tab to gain access to the back, they are going to move forwards the rest of the way, which is very helpful and convenient. And then hopping into the back now of this 4-seater, you're not really going to buy this as a 4-seater for everyday use. You have climate vents though, a little bit of leg room. There's also a storage pocket in the middle, and then at 5'10", I am touching the headliner. However, I could ride around town, maybe not go on a long road trip, but I could ride around town. They're functional for that aspect. I have an armrest and a large window here to look out of. You can also fold down the middle seat. So if you want to use that as an armrest, you can, or if you need to put in some items and you have someone in the seat, you can do that as well. So it's pretty open and spacious for the design of this vehicle. And then you can let the seat do the rest of the work to get back into that position. And as we take a look at the steering wheel now, it's solid leather with all the BMW colors. There's carbon fiber accents, M1 and M2. This is also a heated steering wheel. And then on the right side, there's volume and tuning, Bluetooth and voice commands. Left side, all of your cruise control settings. But with my foot on the brake and the clutch, let's bring this to life. And coming back to the digital gauge cluster, you'll notice on the left side there's miles per hour, right side there's what gear you're in, along with engine temperature and the tach. And then you can use this button right in the middle to further go through this information. So there's the scrolling dial where now you can go through all of this, just depending on what you would like to see. So you have all of these vitals that will pull up right in the middle. And then once you are done scrolling through all of this, you can go over to the right for the head-up display. So currently it is showing the standard view, which is miles per hour and the speed limit sign. Directional will add the compass. There's also reduced view, which is the same as standard, and that is it. So it's very nice to see that. Now, you can actually change both the gauge cluster and the head-up display by going into M mode. When you go into M mode, you can go into sport or track, and when you do that, now you have the what gear you're in and miles per hour right in the middle, vitals on the right side, and then how the vehicle is set up on the left side. It also changes the head-up display where now you see the RPM, miles per hour, and the speed limit sign. Now, in order to change how the vehicle is set up, that is what M1 and M2 are for. So currently in M1, everything is in efficient or comfort, and if I push on M2, now you have Sport Plus, and some are still in comfort, but those are all adjustable, which I'll show here soon. Now on this left side, there's all the headlight adjustments. There's one air vent with the interior lighting. And then as we work our way to the infotainment system now, you have quite a lot to go through. So on the home screen, you can swipe through all of these widgets. You can even add some as needed, just depending on what you would like to see. And then you can also get into all of these apps like Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You can get into your drift analyzer as well. So if you like to drift in your M2, you can monitor all of that information. You have your navigation, interior lighting, climate controls. There's even drive settings as well that you can get into. Setup is how you can get into M1 and M2. So as you can tell, these are the different settings for both of them, and you can go in and configure all of these as needed. There's also more shortcuts on this left side to get into your phone, navigation, as well as music. Climate controls are right in the middle where you have access to your heated seats as well, and then the temperature dials are on both sides. Now there's more carbon fiber underneath that with brushed aluminum, 2 air vents in the middle. There's power and volume along with tuning and defrosters. And if I open up that carbon fiber lid, you'll notice there's a little bit of space in the back. There's cup holders and auxiliaries. And then in order to put this into reverse, simply push it all the way to the left and up. And then the backup camera will appear with the guidelines on that one side. And then you have the rest of the 6 gears to go through. Now on this left side, there's the parking sensors, engine start stop. You do have a shortcut into setup. For M1 and M2, there's the M mode, the exhaust note button, so you can turn that on and off. There's also the e-brake with traction control, and you do have shortcuts to this screen as well. So you don't have to use it as a touchscreen system. You can use that rotary dial and all of those shortcuts. There's also a little bit of storage with an auxiliary in the armrest. Plenty of storage in the glove box. You can see more of that lighting, which is currently blue. There's garage door buttons up top, along with the controls for the sunshade and sunroof and the dome lights as well. And then a pretty good amount of visibility. You have those rear passenger windows, which are pretty large, so you can even see well over that left side. As we set off now behind the wheel for the BMW M2, we have been able to drive this before. We had a manual M2 for a solid week and did a lot of driving with that vehicle. We took it to the mountains to really check out its performance. I even took it on a 9-hour road trip. With the manual transmission, it wasn't all that bad. It was a great road trip for about maybe 7 or 8 hours. It was fine. It was a great vehicle to just do a road trip like that, but it also gives you performance to really have some fun. So this is a really good blend between daily driving and having some fun with it on the mountain roads, taking it out on the track. It's also a very practical vehicle too, giving you the space in the back where we put most of our luggage, as well as having the trunk space too. But out on the road, it's a very, very fun vehicle to drive. My brother owned an automatic and a manual Toyota Supra, which is kind of similar to this. A lot of people are upgrading from the Supra to this. We have the twin turbo engine instead of the single turbo on the Supra. So we've also made a comparison between both of the vehicles, as a lot of people are fans of both of these cars. Now on my downshifts there, this does have built-in rev matching. I don't think you can turn it off, but it also sounds really good too with everything open. I have it in M2 right now, which is set up for all these sport mode settings, as well as having that exhaust on. And I think it sounds really good, but of course you can do some modifications. We have some M2 parts as well on our website, along with the Supra support. So if you have any parts for your Supra or M2, take a look at our website, broadsterspeed.com, where you have endless potential with modifications for these vehicles. But let's put it into M1 now, where hopefully you could hear the exhaust go away. I'll downshift so you can hear how quiet it is. So it's a really nice vehicle depending on what you're driving. You have a few characteristics and personalities you can bring out of this car to match your driving for the day. It's very comfortable too. We have these sport bucket seats. I believe you can get the carbon fiber bucket seats in the M2. It might just be in the M4, but if you choose to get those seats, they are a lot more aggressive than these ones. These are incredibly comfortable. Again, for the road trip that I did, we had the similar seats here, which were very nice to be in. But even with its suspension settings too, as far as putting it into M2 in the sport modes, it drives very nice. Now, if you're buying a vehicle like this, that's what you are buying it for. You're not buying it to be a smooth vehicle. It is, but you get that stiffer suspension too. So there's a fine line between how stiff it can get, but it's great for daily driving and of course the performance driving aspects as well. And from second gear, here we go. Now, if you want to see more performance driving, check out the video where we took the manual M2 to the mountains. So we were really able to experience its full potential in that vehicle and what the driving characteristics are like. But for today's video, as we can automatically rev match through the downshifts there, you can go through all of the gears, which I know a lot of people do like to rev match themselves. I'm a fan of doing that as well, but sometimes it is fun to let the vehicle do some of that so you can focus on some other driving. Well, this is a great vehicle to drive. I highly recommend the M2, along with the Supra as well. So we have tons of Supra content from the two that my brother has owned. They are very nice vehicles. This one is larger because we have the back seat space. So if you want something a little bit more practical, you may not use the back seats all of the time, but it's something that you would like to have there just in case. The M2 is the good option to go with, a little bit more practical, especially if this is your only vehicle. So you can fold the seats down, put in some longer items if you need to, and just have a well-rounded vehicle. It's not large, but it gives you extra space if and when you need to use it. I owned a Toyota GR86, which was a 4-seater, back seats folded down too. That was my practical vehicle. When I couldn't fit anything in my R8, I took the 86 because I had room to put items in, and it was still a fun sports car to have with that additional practicality. This is on a whole nother level with the M2 here as far as power and everything goes. And then we'll do another acceleration. It sounds so good. I do like how that exhaust sounds in the stock form. And then as far as the maneuverability goes for a vehicle like this, as we get into first gear, turning radius is pretty tight. Do have to back up a little bit here, but it's pretty maneuverable, and I like how light the clutch pedal is, especially when I drove it for about 7 hours. I didn't get tired driving it. The clutch pedal is super light, and the shifter is very engaging. So it's an easy manual to drive, and one that you can drive in stop and go traffic. I know that's not everyone's preference to drive a manual in stop and go traffic, but as I did it on my road trip, you know, it wasn't all that bad. And we'll do another acceleration as we get up to speed here, and that's going to wrap it up for the 2024 BMW M2. Once again, a huge shout out to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this vehicle for me today. Take a look at their website, give this video a huge thumbs up, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.